Here you go. Oh shit, we're
Recording.
recording. Got
Recording.
caught off guard. Welcome back to the Dove Podcast. As always, I am your host Sam. I am joined today by a buddy, dear friend of mine, Jose Guerrero. No one else I'd rather be doing this podcast with. Excuse my English. His accent just makes this podcast go to the next level.
Exotic.
Next level.
Joe
Okay.
Exotic.
He adds culture, right?
I add culture.
He has
to it,
culture and a chin, and that's what this podcast needed: culture and a chin.
I'm
He has both of
exotic.
those.
I'm just exotic.
Well,
Joe Ex-
not in New York. There's like half of New York is Dominican. So in New York, not exotic. Maybe on the internet, you're kind of exotic because there's not that many of us in the world. But
We're dying breed. We're dying breed. All right, bro. You ready for some updates? Are you ready for some updates?
yes, can you
Okay.
update me? Update me, sir.
Okay, update. So you remember the Drake story that we did the last time? And we talked about how Drake asked for consent. Now, I was under the impression that he just asked her for verbal consent.
Mhm.
But then I was told that he actually asked her to sign a consent form before they did anything, which to me that makes a lot more sense than just asking for verbal consent, because nowadays you can just kind of flip. You can just slide. It's gonna be her word versus his.
Yeah.
And then I also found out that it's actually an argument for him getting into trouble for the whole sauce thing.
Yeah, she's trying to take him to court.
Yeah, but you know what's the argument is probably gonna be? So if Drake admits that if he admits that he booby trapped it, he could actually face consequences because you're not allowed to booby trap. Well, basically your own stuff. I don't know if you remember there was a case where a store owner, I think it was a bodega owner or a deli owner, he booby trapped his own store in case he got robbed, and he actually had to pay some money to the people to try to rob him because you're not allowed to booby trap stuff. So I mean, he hasn't said I did this because I didn't want.
I'm sure he'll get legal counsel, and the story he's gonna say is that he did it to kill the sperm. And then they're gonna ask him, well, why'd you do it? He's just gonna say, I wanted to kill the sperm quicker. I wanted the sperm to die quicker.
Yeah.
But why? But the thing is, again, I'm not a legal counsel. I'm not a lawyer. But they would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that his intent was so that if she were to use it, if she were to get a hold of the semen and pour it into herself, then it was meant to cause her pain. But if he did it to destroy the sperm as quickly as possible, and that's just his thing, then he can't do anything about it.
Yeah. But I didn't know that was actually an argument that could be made against him. I didn't know that because there was actually some ladies who were actually defending her and saying that, oh, well, he shouldn't have spiced it. He should have just disposed of it thrown it down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And they were defending her. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? Wait, hold up. Like, it's a little bit crazy that we're defending a person that tried to commit, in her case, would be what? Maternity fraud? Maternity fraud?
I'm not sure what the legal term is.
Because
I would assume it's some type of theft. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it is fraud in a way. I mean, you're literally stealing somebody else's stuff, literally, and trying to bro. That's crazy. I didn't know that she could have a potential case if it were to prove her side. But this
is more common than people give credit for, and I'm sure. I mean, I don't want to speak for Drake, but I'm sure he was curious on how he had a kid in the first place. If you don't remember, back in, I want to say 2018, 2017, somewhere around that time, academics had published a story, and this is how I was up on it around January, or around January, February, and Drake had that song. He's like, had to leave with 21. It was January 21. I had to leave with so and so was turning 21. I had to leave 21, right? And say, sorry, baby girl, I had to run. That's in reference to, allegedly, it's supposed to be for his big mama, right?
The one that had Adonis? The
the one that had Adonis. And then in February, I believe she was posting. No, the following year, she was posting that Drake's a deadbeat father, right? So Drake had to get tested. Drake, I'm pretty sure Drake got tested, or they tested the DNA of the child in three separate places, and it turned out to be his. The issue is that Drake was the thing I'm taking from it is Drake was so adamant that it couldn't be his. So by that, so I imagine something happened to him where he's like, nah, I'm making sure these are dead immediately.
Okay, that would make sense.
Donald, yeah, and I believe that's why he's acting the way he acts right now with his,
with the sauce. But apparently, the sauce doesn't even kill the actual sperm. I heard there are actually doctors saying that it doesn't. It will create a lot of discomfort for the woman, but she could still get pregnant. So I mean, there were some questions to ask for some girls, like, would you take 15 minutes of discomfort to get all that back? And a lot of girls were like, yeah, we'll do it. But you know what's kind of crazy? That we're not really talking about how the woman should probably go to jail. Shouldn't this be a bigger? Because I mean,
she committed theft. Yeah.
Because this, I mean,
but that's the countersue. The countersue, and this again, I'm not a legal expert. The countersue in a situation like that is that you throw a countersue on top of it. You charge the woman with theft of DNA, that is a crime to try to take someone's DNA without their consent. All right. And she's on the NDA form, which she's in violation of. I'm pretty sure the NDA form was not to speak on what's going on or make it public, and she did that already. Secondly, she want to take them to court. That's basic things in all NDA forms. She's taking them to court. So she violated, I'm pretty sure, two things within a basic NDA, and I'm sure there's gonna be a countersuit for that, or there should be a countersuit for that. And if he was petty master like me, if he had real Dominican blood inside of the system, he would countersue her for theft and send that bitch to jail. But that's just,
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's gonna do something about it. But it's kind of scary to me that we're to the point where men have to carry like NDA forms or consent forms. This man had
they've been doing this for a while. Celebrity men have been doing this for a while.
Yeah, but consent forms, specific consent forms, making sure that this Me Too doesn't come back to me. You did before a while.
That was there for a while. It's been before even the Me Too thing started happening. I know. I remember hearing about Bow Wow doing that for girls to go inside, or even Chris Brown, for girls to go inside their house. They had to all sign NDA forms, and their phone had to be taken away from them.
If you were single, would you carry some non-consent forms with you?
If I was single,
yeah,
I carry some consent forms. I'm celibate. I'll be celibate.
God damn it, we can't have conversations. But okay, whatever. Would you advise men nowadays after the whole Me Too thing, seeing how serious it is, even if you're just a regular guy that doesn't make $1 million, but knowing how there can be considerable consequences if you are accused, only accused, you don't have to do anything, but just accused, would you as a man advise somebody else to use a...
Do I think there's considerable consequences if you're accused?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think there's only considerable consequences if you have status. I think if you're a regular person, you can just do the same thing back to them. Because you can just say, well, no. You can just, okay, for example, right? You can just say...
I'm talking about
you can flip it.
If you were accused of grape, I'm using the word grape because the YouTube doesn't like the other word.
He was accused of grape?
Yeah, I can't use the actual word. You know what word I'm using.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But okay, shouldn't as a man...
But a counter argument, again, and this is how I'm surprised more men don't do this. I'm surprised that, but just whatever. I'm surprised why most men, don't let the girl just ride. It's hard to argue grape if that person's riding you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you're at the privacy of your home, I mean, isn't the court system supposed? It's not what you did; it's what you can prove that you did, right? Isn't that the how?
Yeah, sure, but you can ask what happened. In court cases, they can ask what happened.
But you know how? I mean, it's gonna be your word versus her word, and in public opinion, that could destroy your reputation. So, isn't it better to just bring a consent form with you at all times and be like, hey, look, before we do anything, I just want to cover my ass. Do this real quick, and then we can do whatever. It covers you, and then if she does anything, her like, no, I have.
Yeah, but a girl can write the wrong signature. You can be screwed either way.
But Jesus Christ, then
they can just scribble Scrabble.
But
the consent form doesn't keep you safe. Only thing that will keep you safe is you recording them sending the consent form.
Man, but like,
and then what girl wants to bust it down after that? You know?
Yeah, but at that point, it's like, what do you tell men? It's like you're responsible for everything. If you have a consent form, well, it doesn't really count. If you use a condom and use protection like Drake did, and they try to use it, use your own juices.
Oh, my advice for men.
That's
my advice for men.
You still got
my advice for men is if you didn't do anything wrong, and you're accusing you of doing something wrong, you counter sue. That's it. Because the issue, the thing is, when you play a game from the back foot, you're more likely. If you play a defensive game, you're more likely to lose. The best defense is a great offense. And if you know, whoever you're about to sue doesn't really have bread on them like that, you might have a little bit more money than they do, and they're doing this for either clout or because maybe they made a decision and they regret it or something like that, and now you have to pay the consequences. No, that shouldn't be fair. That shouldn't be fair. And two, if you don't exert some type of power in a situation like that and not fall down and bend to your knees, then you're gonna be kicked. Keep getting kicked on. But some men aren't built to battle back, and that's really, I don't want to say an issue. I want to say I think it's a product of the 80s and 90s, where men are just being raised by women, and it's really hard to, they're being raised to believe that a woman's word is everything in every situation.
Right, because right now we have the Believe All Women movement. Then you also have the movement where you can take away consent after the fact. That's another thing that is kind of happening now. So it's like, I think it just makes it even way more difficult for men nowadays. It's like you basically have to be extra careful moving around, because if there are booby traps everywhere, and if you're accused of anything, I mean, it's guilty.
Also, don't walk around alone. It's better if it sounds weird.
Yeah, but
if you're going to do something with a girl, I would recommend
gangbanging her.
No. I would recommend being with some friends. And they can be with their friends, right? And then you guys, if things come down, witness testimony, and whatever story clears out the most, follows the same lines. Bada boom, bada bing.
Wait, you mean that if I bring a girl, let's just say that I was living in Texas with you, and I bring a girl over, I'm gonna open my window, be like, "Hey Sam, can you just make sure you're looking while everything is happening, so you make sure
No. But if things are gonna happen, between you and a girl, and you're in Texas, right? For example, right? And you shoot me a text. Hey Sam,
I opened the window.
I'm at so and so, and I'm here, right? And then if you need me to go check up on the situation after and take pictures of everything to make sure you're good, then that's what has to be done. But that's the risk. That is the risk you take now.
Yeah, but it's crazy that those are the lengths that you have to go to nowadays.
That's if you want security. For the most part, and this is another point to make before we move on to the next topic. For the most part, nothing's gonna happen. For the most part, nothing is gonna happen. Especially if you follow consent. Nothing was forced, and most women aren't fucking bitches.
Agreed.
Yeah,
but you also don't want to be that one that one guy that were like, oh, it happened to me.
Shit, man. I mean, you gotta go through a playlist of questions, man. Also, you gotta go through a playlist of questions before you decide you want to boink a girl. You gotta. If there's something unstable about her, okay, I gotta be careful with this girl. Or
if she's a liberal, stay away from her, right? If she's what is it?
Oh my God! Next topic.
All right. Well, anyways, I mean, you kind of hit on the topic that I wanted to talk to. You talked about men being raised by women. So I wanted to ask you, have you ever heard of the son-husband problem that is in America?
The son-husband problem that's in America.
Would you like to take a guess of what it is?
No? I think I know what it is, but instead of me answering and saying what I think it is, I'd much rather you explain it. And then I listen, and then we'll discuss it. So, okay. Jose, what is the son-husband problem in America?
Okay, so this is the term that I first heard from Kevin Samuels, right? And
Kevin Samuels, the GOAT, a
the
living
GOAT
legend.
Samuels. And he
That's a
basically
good name, Samuels.
he's the godfather. Basically, he talked about how a lot of boys are being raised by single, mother households, and that something that is stopping their growth is that they're starting to become responsible for a family that is not, it's not theirs, that they didn't make. So this is where I'm going to start asking you questions.
They didn't
right?
make.
They didn't make, right? So this is when I start asking you questions, because this is, and I'm going to answer them as well. At some point when you were younger, when you were 15, 16, do you ever feel responsible for kind of being a father figure to your brothers and being there for your mother?
15, 16?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you
15, 16. I would say I felt more responsible for my mother and brothers probably around the age of 13. Around the age 13 is when I started feeling the pressure. I mean, I think 13, 14 is when I started working. I've been working since I was 14 years old. So
and then you started helping around the house. I'm guessing you started paying bills. You started yada yada. So the same thing with me. I felt responsible, and I felt like I needed to be there for my family. And even there were times, I remember a long time ago when you want to move to Texas, one of the reasons that I didn't want to move out was because I thought to myself, well, I just don't want to leave them. And if I do leave, I want to be able to leave them in a better financial situation. I think Kevin Samuels was having this discussion. He was like, and it was another guy in the similar position that I was. And he was like, and Kevin Samuels said, leave. Why are you responsible for a family that you didn't make? You got to make your own life. And although it sucks, I mean, you're not responsible for being a role model for your cousins and brothers. You got to move out the house eventually. So you think a lot of men have this problem where they're basically filling in for a husband, essentially, for their mothers.
I mean, I can see where Kevin Samuels is coming from.
And keep in mind, I'm just paraphrasing a lot of the things that he's saying. Like, I'm not, there are probably videos where he explains himself a lot better, but I just want to get to the point.
Yeah. I hear you. I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree on both sides, right? I agree with his solution to the diagnosis, but I don't know, maybe because I've been in a situation where I'm like, I've had to, for instance, college. I didn't go to college at a certain point in my life because my father had just passed away right out of high school. And I'm pretty sure my mother was in a pretty financial situation. So I started trying to help her out, right? And then, yeah. So from then I started trying to help her out, and I guess maybe like the husband thing, the phrase "son husband" thing, you kind of feel a responsibility towards your brothers and sisters. I do have a sister, as if you are their father. That is true. Like even to this day, like my sisters or brothers hit me up about them being hungry or them wanting something for their birthday or whatever, and but it's not in a brotherly or sisterly way. It's more in a, they kind of expect me to do it now. They kind of expect me as if I am their mother or I am their father. And they were, in a weird way, my brother, my younger brother, but the eldest of my younger brothers, Josh, he's even said it before, like he respects me more than he respects his parents. And it's it's a little weird because me and him don't get along that much. But for him to respect me at that level, there must have been something good I did.
Yeah.
Same thing with my sister. My baby sister is 5, 6 years old. Today she sent me like 5 audio messages randomly, just because my brother Zavi fucking hits me up all the time when he's having problems with his girlfriend, and he lives with his father. He lives with his father, and he refuses to talk to his father about the issues, and he'll call me and talk to me and ask for advice from me, because there was a certain point in when he moved in with his father 17, 18 to finish off high school or whatever, but he lived with us his entire life until he was 16. And the person to give him advice, the person to hand him bread or whatever was always me, or my mother too at the time. But
Do you think that that stunts men's growth? Obviously, taking that bigger responsibility, and the reason I say that is because of this, right? The father side of the picture, the older son takes care of things, right? The mother now, because she has the son, she starts building a life with the son, meaning that the son has good credit. So maybe she starts applying for she tries to buy a house, she gets a mortgage, right? So now the son is tied to that house, because if he leaves, that's just too big of a
financial risk.
Yeah, for him. So now he's kind of stuck wherever the mother decides to go. If he wants to get a car, she's kind of stuck, right? So it prevents the son from living his own. He's doing his own thing, because the way it's supposed to be is the parents get their own house and they allow the sons and the children, the daughter, whatever, as well, to just move out eventually without having to worry to take care of their mother all the time.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's kind of stunts a lot of man's growth nowadays?
It could stun a lot of men. It could stun a lot of men's growth. But I think another thing that might stun another man's growth is the inverse of that, right? So again, there's the son husband phenomenon, I guess, that Kevin Samuels was speaking about, but there's also the inverse, where a son will never learn to be a man. They'll never learn to be a man because their mother was continuously coddled them their entire lives.
Yeah, but that would be the same thing as stunning their growth, isn't it?
Yes, but it's inverse. So in one case, the son husband, eventually that son, even though I guess transitioning to the husband, a weird phrase, but they still start taking on more man-like qualities in terms of responsibility, because they're with their mother, and their mother teaches them, hey, this is what a man should do. This is what a man should do. You should take care of your family. You should pay some bills. So you do learn responsibility in those areas. Maybe not in a way that a man can teach you, but you do learn some responsibilities. The inverse of that is if you have a mother that continuously coddles you and doesn't allow you to do anything, and after you lose, let's say husband, boyfriend, or whatever, the mother loses a husband or boyfriend, and then she raises her son to just be solely dependent on her, so she'll never lose that man again. Never lose a man again. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Give me a second.
Take your time. I like when you sit down and think.
I'm letting it grow. I think that the latter is what often happens, where the mother cuddles the son way too much, other than teaches the son how to be a man. And the reason I say that is because a mother's not a father at the end of the day. And she's not going to be able to properly teach her son how to actually behave as a man. I think it's going to be, plus it's a weird dynamic. Mothers are not going to treat you the way a father is going to treat you. So I think she's not probably going to be able to teach you. Plus, you probably won't have a male role model in your, at home that is going to be able to properly guide you. So I think I get what you're saying, but I think it just stunts a lot more men than anything else. It puts them in a situation where they feel they have to take care of their mother. They feel they have to stay at home without having the ability to move out and do their own things.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. Okay, here's the question, right? Because we were raised in similar environments. You were raised by your mother, right? And I would consider you a man, and you've never been raised with another man inside your household, only for a tiny bit of time. And then, but so here's my question to you, and here's a question to people like us in general. Where do we get what we have now from them? And to also add this, granted, your situation is the way it is now, and you live where you live now, right? So I want you to speak from the mindset of not just who you are, what you're doing, because actions are more important than just words. Because this is very important for you to realize as well, is that though you realize what you could or should or want to do, choosing not to do all three. So now, go.
This is the thing. Although I think that I know I am where I am because of my mother. However, as I've gotten older, I've realized you could say like errors if my software. I'm also use software as a word that I have gained because of her. And part of it is that kind of guilt tripping thing that they might do, where she's like, well, you have to stay because I'm your mother and you have to take care of me, and we're gonna have to do this, that, and the third. Right. Yeah. Sadly, right now it sucks that I can't pinpoint kind of things in my character that I have noticed that are kind of feminine when I was a lot younger. I think even when it came to women, I think her advice was fucking horrible. I mean, she gave me horrible fucking advice. Like looking back at it, I'm like, God damn, like no wonder I was single for so long. You over here fucking teaching me the wrong.
I don't want to say this in a derogatory way. A lot of men, they'll throw the joke. It's fine, man. You could just call me your dad, but I'm not gonna do that, right? What I'm gonna say to you is, when I first met you, it was clear to me, at least, that you didn't have that much. Firstly, male to male contact.
That's right. Trying to figure that thing out.
Okay, you didn't have too much male to male contact at all, right? And you didn't know how to even approach women, and
well, I did, man. I was fucking savage in middle school, bro.
Okay. I didn't meet you in middle school. It was clear to me that you didn't even know how to approach women, right? I remember we talked about certain things for hours and hours during work. We used to work like 5 to 8 hours a day with each other, 4 or 5 days a week. 4 or 5 days a week, we were working 8 hours together. And I think for the first couple months, I knew you. First couple months of us working at the second spot we were working together at. Like that was virtually the only thing we talked about. And there were so many things. It's crazy how far you advanced. There were certain jokes that you got like offended by. Like you didn't fuck with those jokes at all.
Bullshit. What jokes?
Like when I first put on Andrew Schultz or whatever like that, you just wasn't. Then now you love Andrew Schultz. Like you talk about his jokes.
Me getting offended by jokes? I don't know about
that.
No,
you didn't get offended by his jokes. You just didn't fuck with a lot of jokes, or you didn't fuck with certain concepts.
Maybe I didn't get them.
Maybe that could be it too. You was very naive to a lot of things.
Okay, yes.
And I would tell you to do certain things. You'd be like, that's not going to work, Sam. I'm like, bro, I'm telling you for a reason. And then, boom, it's like things that started popping off in your head. For instance, there were sus things you did with other coworkers that I was like, bro, I look at you different. I'm like, bro, why the fuck are you doing that? You're setting off the wrong image about you. And I knew I had an idea of who you were as a person because me and you talked on a regular basis at work, more than anyone else at work, right? And you were doing things just to seem, I'm not sure it's funny or cooler than you actually were. And I kept pointing to you, bro, that's sus. Stop doing that. Hey man, this is this. And I'm like, hey man, if you want to do this, you should right. And it's so funny now. I've spoken about it with my girlfriend, and it's gonna sound weird. And I don't take credit for it. I think it's more you grew into it eventually at the time. It seems as if you started to realize a lot of things I was saying were kind of true, and you started picking up on what I was saying, and you started thinking along the same lines. Like there's certain things I can say now, and you just, that's exactly what it is. It's like,
sorry, I was zoning out. I was listening to you, but I was actually thinking of something else.
Okay.
No. The only thing that I was gonna say was, it's like mothers want to make you the man that they never had in a way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like them. Yeah. So like they turn you into something you're not supposed to be, or something that is not really attracted by other women. But like, yeah, like I did notice that I used to act like really, I don't want to say I was like really feminine, because it wasn't like I dressed feminine, but it was just, there were certain things that came off as feminine, like too, I don't want to say feminine. Feminine is like too weak, but yeah, I agree. I know.
Yeah, you not. I don't want to say you were feminine.
No, I
but
get.
I would say you weren't opposed to doing feminine things, which isn't
Yeah.
wrong. If you want to be feminine, by all means. But the thing is, I knew from the things that you liked, you talked about, and you read about, that you weren't actually, those weren't actually your interests. You was doing them because people around you were doing them, and you were
Yeah.
kind of camouflaging within whichever group you were in at the time. Because now you don't speak the way you speak. Like, I remember before when we used to have coworkers, they used to do like, let's say, cutesy things. You used to say, "Oh," I'm like, I wanted to smack the shit out of you. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, bro. I'm like, Obi-Wan wouldn't say that shit.
It's really, it's you know what? That's a really good point. You just brought up the word "on." I was the other day, yesterday, I think someone said something to me. I was about to say "on," and I was like, wait, hold up. You're not supposed to say "on." It's not a point where you say, well,
football.
It doesn't belong in your vocabulary. That's that kind of the wrong thing to say. I caught myself. I was about to say "on." I was serious. I was typing. I'm like, just say something else. Just be like, okay, or some shit like that. I'll be like, oh, okay, that's good, or you'll be good, or something like that. You'll be fine, or some shit like that. That's what I said, instead of saying I have to look. But yes, I do agree with everything that you just said right now. But I think that's what I also mean, that it does kind of stop men a little bit, because they're getting all of this kind of feminine energy, and they just don't know what the hell to like. Okay, this is the feminine. Yeah, it's like, it's just too much feminine energy.
For instance, is like when men are scared to talk to women. That's feminine energy, bro. To me, that's feminine energy. That's you. You're raised by your mom, or no one's ever showed you that girls are people just like you. They're no different from you. That the older I've gotten, the more I've realized that women and men, the difference between women and men is like a small percent in aggressiveness and acceptance. That's it. That's really the main difference. Some people are, girls on average are smaller, men on average are taller, or stronger, or bigger, and stuff like that. But besides that, they want sex just like you do.
Just a quick question:
they have interest.
Are you saying in a way you have to embrace your aggressive side? I don't mean by violence. I'm talking about that side of you that makes you kind of I don't want to say makes you a man.
I'll change it. Instead of aggressive, you have to embrace the hunger.
I was gonna say more assertive. Continue.
Yeah, you can embrace assertiveness as well. And I've noticed over here in Texas as well, without going into too much details about what happened recently over here with people I know, whatever like that. I was assertive towards other men, and my assertiveness was taken as if I was being negative. And then after my negativity, which I don't think anyone that knows me would describe me as negative, after my negativity, instead of trying to talk about it as grown men, the reaction was to, let's say, for lack of a better word, try to separate themselves from me.
Is it more how men kind of tend to confront each other, right? They tend to be upfront, right? Women tend to be more passive aggressive. It's kind of like that. It was kind of passive aggressive attitude.
Yeah, it was very passive aggressive.
Okay.
It was extremely passive aggressive. But the thing is, signs of the passive aggressiveness started showing someone else first. So there's a group or whatever. The passive aggressiveness started to show from someone else first, and I approached that passive aggressiveness, and I'm like, you know me, like I don't let shit slide. I'm not the type of guy. If there's something to be said, say it. Don't try to speak in riddles. Say what you have to say, right? And a situation occurred or whatever, and I found the situation like weird. Like it was something that it was something had something been said, it's not that big of a deal. It had something been said ahead of time, I'm good. I'm very secure in my emotions. I'm very secure with whatever I got going on elsewhere. Like no issue whatsoever. I would have been perfectly fine or happy. I asked them or I questioned the situation, and my response to me questioning the situation was, "You're negative. We can't, or I can't deal with this negativity. Run away." I'm like,
So, and two things real quick before I forget. Right,
okay.
that was one of the things that I was gonna mention. One of the kind of character traits that I had was that I noticed that I was really passive aggressive when I was a lot younger. Then as I got older, I was like, well, I think I'm gonna use the word as a man. I think I should just confront people instead of just kind of hiding it back. And I started changing that about myself the older I got. The second thing was, isn't that another word that people use for toxic masculinity that is always thrown around?
Negativity.
Well, negativity also. People around here in New York, it's like, oh, you're using that toxic masculinity. You're too assertive. You're too confrontational, right? They use kind of those character traits that belong to men, and it's toxic immediately, right? So men that are growing up in single mother households with aunties and baby cousins and girl cousins, right? All that, anything that is male like is being as toxic masculine, while all the feminine energy is kind of just putting into them, kind of again,
But
their growth.
to me is like, to me on some real shit is like, firstly, if anyone calls me saying I'm just showing off toxic masculinity, I really don't give a fuck. I don't. Nor do I think men should give a fuck.
Agreed, but I'm talking about
hold on.
general.
Let me finish. Let me get this shit off. Right.
Let it rant.
If you feel like I'm being toxic and I'm being toxic masculinity, firstly, let me get my shit off first before you're being toxic masculinity. I'm gonna look at you like you fucking stupid, and I'm gonna go more in because now I know I'm bothering your soul, right? I tickled your soul, and now it's starting to get like itchy. Is your butt hurt, and now I'm on your ass because you know when you know when I don't know. I don't want to finish that line. The point is, if someone's being direct about something, for instance, right? Let's use an instance of something, right? If someone's trying to, let's say another man's trying to clown you in a situation, or anyone's trying to clown you, a man or woman, right? A man's trying to clown you in front of, let's say, people you guys are trying to pick up. Let's say you and a guy are going to go pick up some girls, right? And the only way he can seem good is to big himself up and try to bring you down. Immediately, if you allow that shit to happen to even allow that shit to happen once, forever, he's gonna view you as you're beneath him. You need to get on that ass immediately, right? It's the same thing with a girl. Imagine you have a girlfriend, and the first time you meet her family, or the first time she meets your family, that all she can do is complain about things that you do. You gotta nip that shit in the bud immediately. You gotta be like, hold up, what the fuck are you doing? Do you not know who the fuck I am?
Yeah.
You must got your fucking mind if you think I'm gonna let you talk about me in front of me to people that I know crazy.
Yeah.
That's your fucking mind. It makes no sense.
It doesn't. But again,
I got on my boss, I got on my boss's ass about that shit. He fucked up. Came in with some extra female energy, some extra feminine energy, and try to blame his fuck up on me. I got off my ladder so quick, and I was in it, and I was on his ass immediately. I'm like, nah. I'm like, firstly, even if it was my fault, why the fuck are you telling other people? Why are you telling people that don't even work for this company what's going on? And I was on his ass. Later on, he called me or whatever. He apologized. He's like, you're right. I should have approached you first. I should have done this first. And we didn't even diagnose the issue. Turns out it was his fault. Even if we don't diagnose the issue, if we're on the same team, we're both men. You don't have to, I'm not saying you have to come to me first. A lot of men say that, come to me first, you have a problem. If you have a problem and you want whatever makes you feel better about your problem, that's fine. But if we're on a team, you keep the issue within the team at least.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was ranting. Go.
No. I like that. Keep it going. But I was just gonna say, right? So you use the word men a lot, as men. Right now, I think that word will piss off a lot of people in the way kids, the way boys are raised, right? Because we kind of want to make it seem like men and women are equal, and men and women handle problems the way women do it, which is passive aggressive. We don't want to ruffle any feathers, and we kind of one of the things that I'm noticing is that we kind of try to suppress the feelings that some men will have. Was like, approach it to me first, be assertive, do this. That's being, again, I think that's being pushed in our culture right now as being just toxic. Because right now, I think someone will look at you right now and be like, oh no, he's just super toxic. As men, like, oh, that's toxic masculinity everywhere, which that's not what it is. Don't you think that that's also happening right now, as you know, the way we're teaching our kids too? Maybe not necessarily in school, but in general.
The thing is, inside of school, right? We both went to public school. Yes.
Yep.
Regardless of where, okay, for example, right? I think Ben Shapiro made a great joke about, or not a great joke. He made a great situation about this, right? I think he has a son and he has a daughter, or he has two daughters, something like that. But he has a daughter, right? And he made the point that his daughter runs like a girl, without having to be taught how to run, without having to be taught how to do whatever. When she ran more like, arm, hands bent or whatever, more feminine than masculine. And as soon as I think he said something about his son, as soon as he wanted to run, he was quick. He before he even learned how to fully walk, he wanted to run immediately, all aggressive and whatnot. And there's things there's things in the immediacy of birth and the transition into toddler to kid, that those things are there. Those things are there immediately. It's like second nature. Second nature. My baby sister almost immediately wanted dresses.
Yeah.
She was almost immediately fascinated by Elsa from Frozen. Immediately. Not that thing. Those things didn't have to be taught to her. Yeah. She could have looked at Frozen and want to be like, what's that snowman's name? Olaf or something like that.
Olaf.
Yeah. Or what's the guy that has the moose?
Oh, man, I don't know that one.
I forget his name. Okay, let's go with Moana, right? She could have chose to be Maui. She could have chose immediately when she saw Maui. Maui's who she wanted to be, or that's who she was adjusted to like.
Yeah.
She chose Moana, right? And for to continue on, there are some people that are that way.
Yeah.
That instead of picking Moana, they wanted to be Maui. Those things do happen. Also, you can grow out of those things.
Yeah.
So even if you start in one area, you can grow out of that and become something else.
Yeah.
Right? Because boys, if they get caught up by their mother, usually are much more feminine when they're kids. But once they hit middle school, high school, and they start getting all that aggressiveness from other boys, it's either you become aggressive and match your energy, or you just go with the girls. And that's where in school, that's what happens. And a lot of those guys that go with the girls, all the boys already know that guy is, he plays for another team. Yeah, that's usually how that works out. Almost always, in all my life experiences, that's almost exactly how that happens every time.
And even it comes down to, because that's just I noticed something in my family where one of my cousins, my little cousins, like he was doing something really feminine, and my aunt called him out immediately. Hey, that's a feminine. That you're doing this. What girls do. Don't do that. Right now, that would be. Some people will be like, no, you can't do that. He is who he is. But you think that's also cultural? That in certain cultures, as soon as boys are acting feminine, they're immediately called out on it.
I mean, I watched a Jamaican man on the train. I think this one of the last things I remember before I left from New York.
Oh, you're saying
coming from work. I was leaving from work. I was on the 2 train, right? It was I think it was around 1:49. Just going into Jackson or whatever like that, but the train is packed. There's really no way to move, right? A guy on 149 gets inside the train, and the Jamaican man has his back towards the door so that no one can stand behind him. A man tries to stand behind him. The first thing that man did was, go on, me, you batty boy. I'm from the Caribbean. We don't play those games. Boy, I'm from the Caribbean. I don't play those games, batty boy. And the thing is, other women on train immediately understood what was the problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a masculine thing. It wasn't just a men thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was just a men thing, or maybe it was cultural. But there was other women on the train, a packed train, that immediately knew that man should move from behind him, because that man felt uncomfortable. He came from an environment where that's not something he was raised to deal with in the first place,
and that's not okay either.
And that's not okay either. If had that been a woman and that man got it behind him, it would have been the same issue.
Yeah.
But they want to switch it up. Oh, if you're a man, if you can't accept this because you're not comfortable in your sexuality, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so comfortable in my sexuality that when shit happens that I don't fuck with, I'm gonna say I don't fuck with it.
Yeah. That scene. Yeah.
That's more comfortable. If I see something I don't fuck with, for instance, if a man tries to talk to a lesbian woman and she tells that man, I don't fuck with dick, you're not gonna keep trying to just give that girl dick because she don't want your dick. She's into the pussy. She's very comfortable with sexuality. I do not fuck with dick. It's that simple. And if this a reverse way, that's what I'm saying. When things like that, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't give a fuck how you feel or how you taking the way I feel, because it's not any different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we went to a couple of problems, but do you see how there's definitely, I think, I don't know if you were the one that said this to me, but there's an attack on men, attack on masculinity. It's kind of constantly trying to bring down the whole.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, kind of females just know what they want, and usually tends to be that
they do know what they want.
That tend to be that toxic masculine asshole. Like this is a quick story.
Not only is that, men also know what they want. That's the thing.
That's the thing. Falls in line.
People let social media think, and they think that's the real world. Granted, it's becoming more and more the real world, but people see social media. Okay, let's bust it down. The only guys that have a lot of followers on Instagram are famous men that make money, have status, been in movies, or make music, or make some type of art. That's it. Right? Or they're very popular amongst men because there's a hobby that men follow, such as bodybuilders, gamers, and stuff like that. Those are the only way men become very big on social media. Right? Or girls, or they're very popular amongst girls for being like either super feminine or maybe kind of good looking, right? What are women mostly blow up on social media for? And who makes them big? Take your time.
Men. Sex sells. It's all over. Sex sells. Sex sells.
Sex sells? What do you mean?
Sex blows the fuck up, bro. I had
who supports most of their content when they want to show their ass?
Want to show OnlyFans? Men. Want to show OnlyFans? Men. Sex sells.
So it's like.
Same thing. What happens every?
Men are sick. Men are toxic or whatever. You guys are showing your ass for our bread. You're showing your ass for bread, and you know what you're doing? The inverse of what we're doing. So are you a toxic feminine? Are you a toxic feminist to show your ass? I wouldn't say so. I would say a toxic feminist is someone that hates men. That's toxic. If you hate men for no other reason for just men being men, that's toxic. If you're a man that hates women for nothing else but women being women, if you hate women because they show their ass, you're toxic. That's weird.
Isn't that misandry? The hatred of men? Misandry?
I don't know.
One of them. I think I heard that word before.
I don't know. I know someone that they actually hates men. I know someone that's like that. And the only person she doesn't hate is me, and that's because we have a close relationship.
She hates men?
She hates men. I'm doing a podcast. I'll talk about it after.
Like, what the fuck is
but she hates men.
But No, I mean, yeah, he kind of went through all the points. I mean, it's like it's weird because women will say one thing. I think if you want to take away anything, is pay attention to what women do, not what they say. Women
Thank you.
women will say one thing, but one of the things I noticed is they do the completely opposite, which is amazing. I knew of a girl who was she was like a super feminist, bro. Like she was. Anyways, bro, she ended up with this fucking like the most not an asshole, but he was really assertive. Like there's certain qualities that women look for, and all the qualities she said that she didn't like was not the one she ended up with. And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
So you're full of shit. I'm just gonna follow what you do now from now on, because you girls, I can't follow what you say.
But that's a lesson. That's a lesson for life, though. A lesson
I'm
for
gonna go
life
talk. I'm gonna
is.
see this after this. I'm gonna go talk to my mom because this bitch. I can say that she's my mom. This girl's over here
Oh
like
my god.
you gotta listen to women and you gotta listen to women and be kind to them. Fuck that. I've been a little bit not. I don't want to say an asshole. I've been just a little bit more assertive and kind of having boundaries and kind of cutting stuff off. And if I notice something that I don't like, I just bring it up immediately. And I've been quite successful so far. God bless
Yeah,
America.
I'm telling you, just be straight up, man.
Yeah, not be an
Being straight,
asshole, right? Not being
being
an
don't be an
asshole.
asshole. I'm
No,
not
no,
saying be an asshole.
no.
I'm
I
not
know you're not
saying
saying that, but
like walk around and be like, hey bitch. Like I'm
I'm
not saying do that shit.
hey
That's
bitch,
not what I'm saying for people to
I'm an
do.
alpha male.
I'm saying that if here's the perfect example, right? And this is gonna be this is advice for men that trust me, if you do this, one, you will get laid more often. Two, more people will like you and want to hang out with you. And three, we'll probably make you more money in the future, right? The example I'm going to give doesn't fall under all three, but the the soul of the lesson that exists within the example is what you can carry on with you. If a girl asks you, do you like her hair today? And you don't like her hair today. Say you don't like her hair today. Right? It's that simple. It's so an example of that is, do you like the job that you do? No, this shit sucks. Another example is, do you like this color? No, I don't. It's okay not to like stuff.
Yeah.
It's better to say you don't like it, so you don't have to deal with that situation again.
They might even change it for you because yeah, I mean, you know me. I fucking hate like those big ass long nails. Some girls be
Yeah,
wearing. I always be
yeah,
like, I don't like them. Get that French tip. I call it French tip. It's the ones with the white tips. I
yeah.
think those are
Those are
yeah.
friendships.
And I
Yeah,
always get those because that's the one I want. I always bring it up. Yeah, too long. I don't like it. Change it.
yeah. But the thing is, girls do the same thing, but they won't verbalize it. Instead of verbalizing it, say they hate the way you they say they hate the way excuse me, can't speak right now. Say they hate the way you dress. Guess what? She's gonna buy clothes that she wants to watch you wear. That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
They'll buy you clothes they want you to wear because they're not really fucking with what you're wearing right now. They want to change up.
You know what? That's another good thing. Gentlemen, watch their money. Their money tells you a lot.
What do you mean?
Where a woman spends her money tells you how much she cares about you. Because women don't usually
That's true.
women don't tend to
Where
spend a lot of money on men. If you really
where
think
women
about
spend
it.
their money will tell you a lot about how
Yeah.
they view you.
Watch their
That is
money.
true.
I've been watching their money, bro. That's where the money is. But yeah, bro, I think this was an excellent conversation. Listen, honestly, we can go on because we can talk about. I also changed my mind on the whole thing you said a while back with the men should have custody of the kids.
What do you mean? I said that.
Yeah, the men should have custody of the children instead of the women having custody of the kids or the mother having custody of the kids. I kind of changed my mind on
I
that.
believe I gave an example of men are more success. I think I used the word men. I think I used the example that children are more successful and usually make more money than the father if the father raises the kid over if the mother raised the kid.
I
If
think
the
you
mother
also
raised the kid, if the mother raised the kid, the child is 90% more likely. 70%. I think the number 70 or 90% of all criminals in jail
oh yeah, that's
came
that.
from a
I
single
remember that.
came from a single mother household.
That's the other one you also brought up. Did you know that there was a time back in a while back that dad actually always had automatic custody of the kids? Forgot what.
But that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know what they changed there. Well, I didn't know that was actually the rule. The father gets custody.
Well, but I'm not sure it was a legal practice, but I'm sure in a lot of cultures, if the mother and father weren't together anymore, the father usually took the child.
Yeah, that's good because there's a lot of incentives nowadays for females to just kind of divorce. But that's another different conversation. We could go on.
I think we ran this podcast for as long as we could today. What are we on? Like how long is the podcast right now?
I don't even know. I can't tell. Probably over. I mean, pretty sure I'm over like an hour and 15 by now because the Drake thing was only like a few.
Yeah, and then we went on. I started ranting and shit.
I mean, honestly, the conversation could have been a lot longer, but I just think that we're just gonna hit the same points over and over again.
I feel like let's end the son husband debate, or not debate. The topic with, do I believe that it can hinder men? Because this is the question you're asking me.
Yeah.
Do I believe that it can hinder men? Yes.
Big time.
I do believe they can hinder men. I believe that, as an example for the podcast, I believe one of us are hindered right now. I believe that in 2016, for an example, the year 2016, I brought up Texas in 2016, and the year is 2022, and you're starting to see that Texas might actually be the move. So, and that, I don't think that's anything to do with you personally. Is this that you didn't know what to think? I get it. You can pop your pecs, but you didn't know what to think to make the better moves in the future.
Yeah, I just listen. I was just worried about my family, and I was like, well, they're my family. But then
that's good. Those are good.
Yeah,
concerns.
and then after a while, I was like, well, assalamu alaikum. I did my job. You pop me out. You have another one. He deals with your ass for the next 18 years. But yeah, so good shit, man. I really like this.
We can do a podcast. All right, brother.
Deuces.
With that, out.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh my God.